Hey guys, and welcome to Satoshis to Bitcoin, where I help you go from stacking sats to owning your first full Bitcoin one simple step at a time. So maybe you've been thinking about buying Bitcoin, but there's just so much information out there and it can get confusing. So in this video today, let's go through the 2 basic ways that you can buy Bitcoin. And based on my own experience, I'll also tell you which I think is the best way to go for beginners. Quick disclaimer guys, this video is for education only and not financial advice. Always do your own research before investing any of your money. So let's start. There are basically 2 main ways to buy Bitcoin, and that's through custodial platforms and through non-custodial platforms. And which of these 2 you decide to use will affect the level of security and control you have over your Bitcoin. Custodial platforms are the easiest and fastest place for beginners to start. These are the exchanges. In Canada, for example, we have Endax, BitBuy, ShakePay, Wealthsimple Crypto, and more. And in the US, there's Coinbase, Kraken, and so on. They have apps you can download and you simply sign up and buy Bitcoin. And in case you've heard about the term wallet before, you don't need to set up your own wallet in order to buy Bitcoin on these custodial platforms. But the main thing to remember when you buy Bitcoin on custodial platforms is that they actually hold the Bitcoin for you. They hold custody of your Bitcoin. I personally started buying Bitcoin, well, satoshis to be exact, on custodial platforms for the reasons I mentioned earlier. It's the fastest way for beginners and also the easiest to learn because it's almost like using a regular banking app. I first started buying Bitcoin on a platform called Endax. I live in Canada, so this is the Canadian platform. Then shortly after on Wealthsimple. Endax because it has one of the cheapest trading fees in Canada at 0.2%, and Wealthsimple not for its fees because they're rather high at 2%, but because on Wealthsimple you can have your traditional investments like stocks, ETFs, and your crypto integrated on one platform, and it's just super practical for beginners to have an overview of all your holdings in the same app. Anyway, you can find my referral links, both of them, in the descriptions down below. If you use them, you'll get a $25 bonus from Wealthsimple or $10 from Endax. Note that if you open an account with either of them, I will get a small commission. Now here's what I think about custodial platforms. Buying Bitcoin from a custodial platform is better than not buying Bitcoin at all. It's a great option just to get started and get comfortable with buying Bitcoin. Now here's why you don't want to buy and hold all of your Bitcoin with custodial platforms or exchanges forever. Now think of a custodial platform like a bank. You have an account, but the platform controls the Bitcoin. You can see your balance, but you don't actually own the keys to your Bitcoin. And that's where this phrase comes in. Not your keys, not your Bitcoin. If you don't control the private keys to your Bitcoin, then you don't truly own it. A quick detour to make this clearer. Private keys are what gives you access to your Bitcoin. As long as you and only you hold the private keys, you have full control. You can access, send, or spend your Bitcoin anytime. But if you keep your Bitcoin on a custodial platform, the company holds the keys to your Bitcoin, not you. That means you're trusting them to look after your Bitcoin. And when everything's working fine, it might not feel like it's a problem. You can log in, send, and withdraw your Bitcoin anytime. But when things go wrong, if the platform gets hacked, goes bankrupt, your Bitcoin could be locked up or lost forever. Different from traditional banking products like savings accounts that are oftentimes protected by governments, like by the CDIC in Canada or the FDIC in the US, Bitcoin as well as other crypto does not enjoy that kind of protection. So if you want to fully control your Bitcoin, you will need to take it off the platform eventually. So considering these risks, should you still consider buying Bitcoin on custodial platforms? And what's the alternative? To answer the first part, yes, I still think custodial platforms are a good starting point for beginners, especially during the learning phase or when buying smaller amounts. They are simple, familiar, and less intimidating, which makes it more likely that you'll actually take the first step and get started. And that's the most important thing, guys. Don't delay buying Bitcoin for another year while Bitcoin keeps going up and you could have been stacking satoshis all along. But now to the next question. What's the alternative? The other option to buy Bitcoin is non-custodial platforms. Examples of these are Beaver Bitcoin, Bull Bitcoin, and Bitcoin Well in Canada, and platforms like ChangeNow, SimpleSwap, StealthX in the US. By the way, these are just examples. It doesn't mean that I'm endorsing any of them. When you buy your Bitcoin from a non-custodial platform and transfer it to your own wallet, you own it 100%. Now, as the name says, non-custodial platforms do not hold custody of your Bitcoin at any point. Instead, when you buy Bitcoin through their service, it is sent directly to a wallet you control. This is also called self-custody. So to buy Bitcoin, you first need to set up your own wallet in advance to receive your Bitcoin. And with that, you hold the private keys. So as soon as the Bitcoin arrives, you own the Bitcoin. And because the platform never holds your Bitcoin, even if it were to go bankrupt or shut down, your Bitcoin remains safe in your wallet and unaffected. So you see how, at least at first glance, this non-custodial option, so holding Bitcoin yourself, seems more secure? Well, it depends. When you hold your own Bitcoin in your own wallet, only you are responsible for safeguarding it. If you ever lose your private keys, then you can lose access to all of your Bitcoin. On the other hand, by holding your own Bitcoin, at least you secure it against the risk of exchange hacks, platform bankruptcy, or your account being frozen. So there are pros and cons to each method, and you gotta weigh them against one another. Anyway, after buying Bitcoin on exchanges for a while, I began thinking more about the risks. I realized that as long as my satoshis were on exchanges, I didn't truly own my Bitcoin. So then I started moving some of my Bitcoin off the exchanges to hold it myself in self-custody in my cold wallet. But that is a whole other video. By the way, guys, I know I'm using a lot of redundant language here, but I figured that in the beginning, sometimes it's easier to understand it that way. Then I started buying Bitcoin on non-custodial platforms. One platform I'm using in Canada is called Beaver Bitcoin. It's actually really easy to use. After signing up, I simply input my wallet address, send the amount I want to buy, and the Bitcoin shows up in my wallet. So it's not that buying Bitcoin from a non-custodial platform is difficult. It's easy to learn as well, but it just requires you to first understand how to safeguard your own private keys so you won't lose your Bitcoin. And now, because I've already been buying Bitcoin for several years, I feel comfortable buying Bitcoin directly into my wallet. But honestly, when I just started, it was a bit intimidating for me. As a beginner back then, I felt it was much easier for me to start buying Bitcoin on exchanges first, then slowly becoming comfortable dealing with wallets, and then making the move to buy Bitcoin from non-custodial platforms. So in summary, what should you best do as a beginner? Here's something to consider. If you're very tech savvy and learn things super fast, you may just immediately want to go for self-custody. So buying Bitcoin from a non-custodial platform directly into your own wallet. Again, not financial advice. If you go this route, I highly recommend you to first spend some time studying how Bitcoin ownership works to avoid losing your Bitcoin. If your Bitcoin is lost because of a mistake you did, or you lost your private keys, then you cannot retrieve it, and there is no customer service to help you with that. But if you're more like me, so I'm less tech savvy, it just takes me some time to understand new technology, and I'm a bit wary of making mistakes, then consider starting with a custodial platform first, so an exchange, and start buying small amounts of Bitcoin there. Let's just call this your learning phase. After 10 to 50 or even more transactions of getting comfortable with this, it really depends on when you're ready, then set up your own cold wallet. Then learn how to withdraw your Bitcoin from the exchanges to your wallet. And once you feel comfortable using your own wallet and self-custody, start buying Bitcoin directly on non-custodial platforms. So guys, if this helped simplify Bitcoin for you, give the videos a thumbs up and please subscribe to my channel for more beginner-friendly Bitcoin content. And let me know in the comments down below, have you bought Bitcoin yet? And if so, which platform are you using right now? Thank you so much for watching, guys, and remember, buying one Bitcoin sounds big until you realize it's just stacks of satoshis. And for the price of a coffee, you can stack thousands of satoshis each day until one day you own a whole coin. Let me know what other videos on Bitcoin you'd like me to make. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you again soon.